Hello, people. You're welcome to ProUp Masterclass. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi, and I did a podcast on why people struggle with consistency. So you might want to listen to that podcast. It will give you good context to today's podcast. But in that podcast, I was answering a question that was sent to me, where a young man was telling me he was having challenges in being consistent with certain activities he had involved himself in, and he was wondering why he wasn't consistent. And in answering this question, I told him, for me, I really feel like a lot of people engage in activities for which they have no passion. And then they kind of wonder why it's hard for them to follow through on that activity and be consistent. But right there is the answer: a lack of passion. Because consistency basically is passion plus diligence. And it's very hard to be diligent at something you do not like to do. Very, very hard. So I said a lot of people involve themselves in activities for which they have no passion. And I said one secret to consistency is to find yourself in a place of passion. And I got quite a lot of questions from that particular podcast. And the question was, how do I find my passion? How do I know what my passion is? How do I find my passion? And so I decided to make today's podcast, which is a follow up to that podcast I I did some days ago. So today's podcast is going to be called "How to Find Your Passion." How to find your passion. Now, this is a it's a very popular question. The question I get asked a lot, and just when I was just thinking about the question, um, I had some kind of insight into the question that I have not had even I've never seen it in this light before. But then I had some insight into it just by thinking and pondering on it. And I'm going to share my insight with you today. And so I hope someone can follow closely. For this podcast, if you have a pen, get a pen, and a pad. Get a pad. So that you can follow along closely. It's very important. I don't think I've asked people to get a pen and a pad in any of my previous podcasts, but this is very important because this issue of passion, I realize, is very important to a lot of people. And I know why it's important to a lot of people, because passion is a soul requirement. And we cannot run away from soul requirements. Our soul, the satisfaction of our soul, is what makes us happy. And everybody wants to be happy. And so, if you listen to one of my earlier podcasts, it's called This Thing Called Your Soul. This Thing Called Your Soul. You want to listen to it. I talked about the human soul. And I said your soul is divided into, and that your soul is a reasoning faculty. And reasoning is divided into three parts. Your reasoning is your passion, your imagination, and your intuition. Your passion, your imagination, and your intuitions. Those are the three things that make your life fulfilling while you're on earth. Your imagination, your passion, your intuition. So you might also want to listen to that podcast. It's called This Thing Called Your Soul. So that would help you to build a good foundation for this. Now, so I said your reasoning, your soul reasoning faculty. Reasoning basically is passion, intuition, and imagination. Now, your passion in itself has three components. Now, this is the first mistake people make when it comes to discovering their passion. The first mistake they make is that a lot of people are looking for one thing, when in actual fact, what you're trying to discover are three things, not one thing. So a lot of people do not discover their passion because they think it is one thing. So they are looking in one area. You understand? When in actual fact, your passion comprises of three things. And these three things, I'll go through them. Number one, your gift. Number 2, your interest. And number 3, your cause. Your gift, your interest, and your cause. Or the cause can also be called a calling. So you can call it actually a cause or a calling. So we will interchange them in today's podcast. But those are the 3 things that your passion comprises of: your gift, your interest, your cause. Keep that in mind. We want to keep that in mind because we are going to go through these 3 things. A lot of people, they do not find their passion because all they discover is their gift, and they never discover their interest or their cause. Some people never find their passion because all they discover is their interest, but they don't know their gift and they don't have a cause. Some people don't find passion because all they have is a cause, but they don't have an area of interest and they don't know what their gift is. So this is why people struggle with this passion thing, because they don't have these 3 things, a knowledge of these 3 things. A knowledge of these 3 things is a knowledge of your passion. Somebody who has these 3 things operates in passion. Passion is very important. As I said, is a soul function. And for that reason, nobody is at rest without discovering their passion. Nobody is at rest without discovering their passion. That's why this podcast is absolutely important. So your passion is made up of your gift, your interest, and your cause. Your passion is not one thing. So let's start with the gift. And it has to be in this order. I think that's another thing that's very important, the order. So I'm not picking them at random. We must start with the gift. The passion starts with the gift, with discovering your gift. Very important. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. Your gift comes at birth. It's factory fitted within you. We all have gifts from God. God is such a wonderful God. Birth was the first person to give our mother a gift at birth. You understand? Gave her a gift of you, and then gave you a gift for coming into the world. Before you did anything, he gave you a gift. You understand? So we all have gifts. A gift was given at birth from God, factory fitted. A gift. We all have gifts. It's in every single one of us. Unique gifts given to us. Now, a gift, why we are starting with this, because it lays a foundation for everything. A gift is with you for life, never changes. It's rigid. You cannot lose it. You can't lose your gift. Your gift is with you. It's stuck on you. It's like your skin. You understand? It's with you. It's a part of you. You cannot lose it. It's the foundation of everything, of your expressions. The foundation. You can't lose your gift. Now, the thing about the gift is that it's spotted. A gift is something that others will spot for you. A lot of times, other people are the ones that will spot your gift, not you, because a gift is comparative, and ideally, a gift should be spotted by your parents. You understand? If not your parents, your siblings, but people you live with in a functional home should be the ones that should be able to spot your gift, because your gift shows up very early. Just that, in the world we are living today, and the world we've always been living, people have been so distracted. You understand? People are so distracted. And so we don't pay a lot of attention to people around us. We don't pay a lot of attention to our siblings. We don't pay a lot of attention to our kids. We don't pay a lot of attention to our friends. We just pay a lot of attention to ourselves. You understand? But then, ideally, other people are the closest people to you, are the people that will spot your gift. Because it's comparative. And what I mean by this is that Your gift is that thing. It shines something about you that is extra about you that other people do not have. So your parents, a lot of times, should be able to spot your gift. They should be able to spot your gift. It's something about you. So you might be creative. You understand? You're creative. You have a very creative imagination. You understand? People should be able to spot that. That, oh, this person is extra creative. When we are thinking of ideas, this person just comes up with very interesting ideas. You understand? Just creative. People should be able to spot that in you. You might be athletic. You might be athletic. You're able to do things, physical activity that other people cannot do easily. Run faster, carry heavier, you understand? Bend further, you understand, than other people. You might be athletic. It might be more intellectual in terms of there is some wisdom about you. And for me, that has always been my gift. You understand? It has always been my gift. I remember growing up, and my parents used to say, they used to tell me. I remember I would say some things, and they would be astonished. You understand? They would be like, "Oh, how can a small boy say this thing?" You understand? This small boy, how can I say this thing? So people around me used to say it. I remember when I was having my 40th birthday, and my sister still said it. She was like, my brother has always been a wise person, and says when we're really small, he would just say some things, and they'll just wonder where that came from. You understand? Even though I wasn't doing well academically, see, that's the thing about the gift. Even though I wasn't doing well academically, they just knew that there were just some things I would just say, and it would just be, oh, that's really deep. How did you think about that? So I'd always had a very deep reasoning mind. You understand? I was always deep in thought. So I always had the gift of wisdom and the gift of creativity. You understand? So those around me spotted that pretty early. And so we all have gifts. There are different gifts, but those around us can spot it. And that's why it's very important to have people around you that love you. It's very important for a child to grow up in an engaging, loving environment. Because that's where you spot your gifts. People will tell you, oh, this thing that you have. Oh, you're so good at this thing. So you must know that you are better than the average at that thing. That's your gift. We all have it. A lot of times, this gift thing, it doesn't need an education. It doesn't even need a refining. And this is where I talk with people. A lot of people, the one mistake they make is that they try to educate their gift. We don't understand what a gift is. It is God's finished product. God doesn't give you a gift that you need to add to. You understand? The gift in itself, you just need to discover more and more and more about it and own it some more. The only thing a gift needs is owning. Owning, just own it. I know so many people that want to add to their gift. You don't add to your gift, you just own it. It's perfect. As I said, factory fitted. You understand? Given to you from heaven. You don't educate your gift. You don't educate it, you don't enhance it. You just own it. The gift is the first component of passion. You must find your gift. Discover your gift. You understand? Discover your gift. On a good day, your parents should know your gift, especially your mom. You understand? Because we live in a world where there are a lot of distracted dads. You understand? So when the child is growing up, we are out working in the field, we are away. I've spoken about this so many times. I think that's a major loss for dads. A lot of guys take pride in that, but it's a major loss. You understand that you are not there when your child is growing up, and you try to be there or hope your child will be there for you when you are done with work. It hardly happens. You understand? A lot of guys are away at work when the child are trying to hustle for the family. I really pray that a lot of guys get delivered from this spirit of hustle and take on the spirit of rest. Very important. But the women are able to grow with see the child grow. You understand? See the child's first step, hear the child's first words, you know, see the child, do some really interesting things. They engage with the children more. Although, even though that is changing in today's world now, where women are becoming like men, everybody is becoming so career based. So the first person to spot your child's gift is your house help. How unfortunate. A lot of people, the first people to spot your child's gift is your house help. And that's the first person that will corrupt your child's gift. Do you understand? That's what I'm talking about. The first people is that one house help, one nephew, one auntie, that kind of is not you. Person that doesn't really care that much about the child. But then I won't seg from this. But then the gift is the important thing that a person should find to get you on the path of passion. Your gift. Now, the second thing is interest. Interest. This is something that attracts you. Now, you are the one that spots your interest, not other people. And this is where we also get it wrong. A lot of people, we leave other people to spot our interest. So we take the interest of other people. Interest is a very personal thing. Do you understand? It's a very personal thing. You are the one that spots your interest. It's something that attracts you. Your interest. If you're going to find your passion, you must know your area of interest. Area of interest. You spot your interest. So for me, I had an interest in drawing. I don't know the first time I saw somebody draw, but obviously it just interested me. I just want to draw. You understand? But I already had the gift of creativity and also the gift of wisdom. So you see, the interest is very important. Interest is very important because there are people that have the same interest, different gifts. So a lot of times, a lot of people think the interest is the gift. No. You can have a different gift. You can have the same interest with someone and have a different gift. You see, I speak now, and because I am someone with the gift of wisdom, I can, when I speak, whenever I speak as a teacher. You understand? I speak as a teacher. So I don't need to try to be a teacher. That's the way I speak. So I have an interest in communication. I have a gift of wisdom. I have an interest in communication. When I see people talk, it interests me. You understand? I love to see people talk. I just when I go somewhere and someone is speaking, I wish I could take the mic and speak too. I love people communicating. You understand? And so I have the gift of wisdom, interest in communication. Now there might be somebody else that has an interest in communication too. He likes to communicate or she likes to communicate, but they have the gift of wit or humor. So every time they communicate, they come across as funny. I don't come across as funny. I come across as wise, as knowledgeable. They come across as funny. You understand? So they have a different gift, but we have the same interest. You understand? There's some other people that their interest is also communication, but they have the gift of an analytical mind. You understand? So they're analytical. That's their gift. They know how to analyze things very well, but they have the interest in communication, just like me. There's a third set of people. When those people speak, they come across as strategic. Do you understand? They always have a good strategy. You understand? So you can have the same interest as someone, doesn't mean you have the same gift as the person. You understand? Doesn't mean you have the same gift as the person. But you must find your interest. You must find your interest. Very important. We spot our interest. Now, a lot of times, your interest needs an education. Your interest needs some guidance, needs inspiration. It's not factory fitted. You understand? Unlike your gift, your interest It's something you engage, you see it, you like it. You understand? It for some reason it just draws you. It's like a light and moth, and moth. You're just drawn to it for some reason. You're just drawn to it. A lot of times, these things need some finishing. You need to get some information on it. You need to upgrade that information. You need to get some education if you can. It's okay to educate that. You can see, I had an interest in very early on, that interest in art. You understand? But I was creative, from very creative. Creative. You understand? I could see a shadow of something and I would see an animal there. I didn't need to teach myself to see an animal. I could see, and my sons have it too now. When my son he can be eating meat and he bites in a particular way and he sees an animal and say, "Mom, see an elephant." And when you look at it, you see an elephant. He already has they already have creative minds. They're creative, you understand? But then they might now have interest in art, in animation, you understand, in whatever it is. But then they need to learn about those things. They need to get information about that interest. That interest now becomes an expression. You understand? It becomes an expression. So we all have interest. As you experience the world, you get interested in some things, and there's some things for which you have no interest. You understand? Everybody has interest. So what you have interest in, some people absolutely have no interest. You understand? So it's very important for us to be able to spot our interests. You are the one that has the responsibility to spot your interest. Now, you need to get an education with that interest. When I spotted my interest as a designer, an interest in art, in graphic design, I went to learn more about graphic design. I went to school, learned it, got materials, learned it, got resources, learned. When I started to speak, I started to study speakers, teachers. I read a lot of John Maxwell books on communication. It was just, they were interesting to me. I wasn't trying to force myself to read them. I was consuming them because they were interesting. Do you understand? How to connect with people through communication became very important to me because it was my area of interest. So when your interest, now we must note what I'm about to say right now. When your interest um mixes with your gift, that is when you apply your gift to your interest, in expressing your interest, this is what is called a talent. So when you apply your gift in your area of interest, people will call it a talent. You understand? So people say, "Oh, he's a talented artist because he has applied his creative gift to the interest in drawing." So he's seen as somebody who has talent in art. So a lot of times, your interest plus your gift is what is called a talent. Talent is the expression of your interest using your gift. So people might call me a talented speaker, a talented designer, a talented teacher. You understand? So you can be talented. You can be a talented stand-up comedian. John like Trevor Noah. I like him a lot. You understand? But then he has the gift of wit and obviously an interest in communicating. So when you can listen to him talk on the stage for an hour plus, and then he cracks you up, and he's not even trying to be funny. It's just a gift that he has. What he wants to do is communicate with you. You understand? So gift, interest, very important. Now, the third thing is a cause. The cause is the toughest thing to discover. The cause, the toughest thing to discover. Now, this is where people get stuck. I know a lot of people, they've identified their gifts, they know their area of interest, but they don't have a cause. A cause is most times is in all these three things. The cause is the toughest thing to discover. And I'll tell you why. Because the cause requires surrender, it requires selflessness, and it requires service. It requires these three things: surrender, selflessness, and service. And that's one of the hardest things for the human being to do. It's very, very hard because we are so used to putting ourselves first. We are so used to being in control, and we are so used to being served rather than serving. But if you cannot surrender, you cannot be selfless, and you cannot serve, you cannot find your cause. That's what the cause requires. And that's why a lot of people find it very, very hard to find their cause. The cause is the last key in discovering your passion. Because you see what happens, something intrudes when people find their gift and their interest. It's a big thing that intrudes on our lives. Big M. And that M is money. Money is a big distraction. When people tell me about their passion and not being able to find their passion, a lot of time the biggest obstacle is this thing called money. Money is a wonderful thing, but money can also be a very terrible thing when it comes to discovering yourself. And this intrusion of money, a lot of times, affects people's interest. So a lot of people cannot spot their interest because they are so money-minded. They cannot spot their interest. So they think their interest is something that has money, something that pays the most money. So some people, the first thing they need to do is to disconnect their mind from this reward of a thing called money. Then they will see clearly. Because a lot of people cannot make decisions. Their decisions are always informed by which one pays more. So they cannot even know what their true interest is. They cannot know. A lot of people's interests have been corrupted by a yearning and a desire for money. So when you ask me what's your interest, they say, their mind first goes to, I want to be a software engineer. I want to be a heart surgeon. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, you understand? So their interest normally lies in something that they feel they will get a lot of money in. So you see, when people find an interest, the next thing they are looking for is how they can express their interest and be rewarded with a lot of money. You understand? So the interest is not a true interest. It's not a true interest. It's an influenced interest. You understand? So it comes by an influence, an external influence of an insecurity of, would I be safe? Will I be able to take care of myself? Will people see me as successful? Will people like it? Will people applaud me? Will people follow me? You understand? So the interest has been corrupted. That's one of the biggest problems people have, that they cannot move from interest to a place of having a cause. The interest in itself has been corrupted. So when people even find their genuine interest, they can identify their gift, they know their area of interest. What they think is the next thing is, how do I use this thing to take care of myself? How do I use this thing? So all these things were given to me so I can take care of myself. Is that insecurity about whether the self will be fine or not? And a lot of times we believe the self will not be fine. So we feel it's our obligation, it's our duty, it's our task to take care of the self. And by doing that, what a lot of people tend to do is they go out and they get a job. A lot of times, if people get jobs because of an insecurity of how they feel they are going to do, how they would take care of themselves, how they would survive. And so the last component of passion never plays out, that calls or calling. Because one thing about a job is that most people do a job out of a sense of self centeredness. Number one, they want to rise up the ladder. Number two, they want to meet their needs. Number three, they want to be validated by others. Everything is the self. And once the self is at the center, you can never have a cause, because a cause radiates out. So unless you can be surrendered and selfless and be willing to serve, and I'll throw in one additional S there: spiritual. Unless you can be surrendered, selfless, and willing to serve and be spiritual, you can never find your cause or calling. And as I said, this is the pothole in which people get stuck. This is the mud in which people's tires just can't move further anymore. It is that place of spiritual surrender. Without spiritual surrender, you can never ever find your passion equation, can never make sense. Never. You might find gift, you might find interest, but that X would always be a sense of calling or a cause. A cause is where your heart overrules your head. And what I mean is that your head, that is your brain, is a survival equipment. Survival equipment. It always thinks of how to keep you alive. Your heart is a feeling equipment. It always thinks of how you can give more and apply yourself more and connect more. You understand? So they work opposite ways. You understand? Now, if you're going to discover your calling at all, your heart has to overrule your head. That survival mentality cannot be your North Star anymore. Because your cause is where God leads you to the people you are to serve compassionately. Your cause is a place or the point where you're surrendered enough to God to lead you to the people whom you are called to serve compassionately. We all have those people in our lives, a group of people to whom your heart bleeds for. That's compassion. Your heart bleeds for them. You see, compassion comes from a Latin word. The Latin word is compassio. Compassio. It's a Latin word. It means fellow feeling. Fellow feeling. A feeling for your fellow. There's a feeling you have for them. A feeling for them that you cannot ignore. That word compassion. That's the origin of the word compassion. It's a Latin word. Compassio. Compassio is from the word compati. Compati means to suffer with. That means there are a group of people that when you see them, you see their suffering, it's like you are suffering with them. You can feel their suffering. Even though other people are not feeling it, you are feeling it. There's something about them that when your heart goes out to them, you feel compassion for them. That's what it's called, compassion. Compassion, but we might call it sympathy. The sympathy, I think, better than sympathy is even empathy. You understand? You feel their pain. As I said, I have a gift of wisdom. I have an interest in communicating. But my cause is to give hope and direction to young people. And when I say young people, I just don't mean any group of young people. It's so specific. For people in their 20s and their 30s, before they get to their 40s, 20s, 30s. When I see those people, when I just see somebody 21, 20, 24, 25, 31, immediately I just have a connection with them. I feel like going out and hugging them and telling them they will be fine. Not everybody feels that way. When I'm in a room with those people, there's an energy that I feel. When I do my podcast, I record it for those people. I have a mental image of those people. So if you are listening to this and you are in your 40s or stuff like that, you understand? Yeah, you might not be getting from this, but the truth is that for me, I am sent to those people, those 20, 30-year-olds. You understand? Those people are super, they call out to me. They call out to me. I'm compassionate about them. It was a struggle because a lot of people, 20-year-olds, you understand, it's very, very hard. They're just beginning to find their way in life. They just begin to find their way. A lot of them don't have the means. So it was very hard for me to commit my gift and my interest to these people that were not able to reward me. You understand the way I wanted to be rewarded financially. So it was very hard. I tried to pitch my tent with people that had the control of resources. So I think of people in their 40s, people in their 50s, much older people that have spent their life working, they've earned a good amount of money. These people are the head of companies, they are CEOs and stuff like that. I tried to choke my head with those people just to be in there. You understand? So I could get the reward, get my head in there, just choke the head in there. But then it wasn't working because I didn't feel any compassion for them. It was straight up business. It was all business. There was no compassion. I can't lie to myself. My compassion was for the 20 and 30-year-olds, especially those in their 20s. My compassion was for them. A lot of them couldn't pay. But until I surrendered and was selfless enough to serve these people and forget about how I would be taken care of, then and only then did my passion begin to make sense. Then and only then did my happiness kick in. Then and only then did life begin to make real, true meaning. Then and only then did I realize that I loved being Tolalabi. Then and only then was it a pleasure for me to wake up in the morning and just look forward to the day, excited about the day. Then and only then could I go to bed and sleep, and my sleep was sweet because I realized I had poured myself out. Passion makes sense when these three things come together: your gift, your interest, and your cause. Very important. You must be able to identify your gift, you must know your area of interest, and you must be surrendered enough to follow your calling. The person who is able to find these three things without a corruption of self, because the truth is the only influence money has on us is the prioritization of self. If you prioritize self, money will control you. If you prioritize surrender, you would win over money. Very important. The person who is able to combine these three things: your gift, your interest, and your calling, that is the person who finds true passion in the end.